Next lesson, Pygmalion. Page 3. Pygmalion by Bernard Shaw. The life and works of the author. George Bernard Shaw was born on July 26, 1856 in Dublin, Ireland. He was the third child of George Carr Shaw and Lucinda Curley Shaw. His family was, as he described once, quote, shabby but genteel, unquote. His father was a civil servant, but later on shifted to business. However, he was not a successful merchant because of his alcoholic addiction. It was his father from whom Shaw inherited his superb comic gift, full of wit and humor. His mother, Lucinda Curley, was a singer of quality, and she worked as a music teacher. It is she who sincerely attempted to develop the passion for music, particularly operatic music, in her son. At the very early age, he grasped the workshop Mozart and cherished his sincere indebtedness to his fine workmanship throughout the rest of his life. Later, he learned to play the piano, though in the Shavian manner. Regarding his education, it can be stated that Shaw was not satisfied with the traditional schooling system. He received his first education from his uncle, Reverend George Carroll. In Dublin, he received a somewhat scanty education at a number of local schools, including Wesleyan Connexional School. He was totally dissatisfied with the teachings in these schools, and even he declared that he had learned absolutely nothing. Actually, Shaw possessed certain qualities like inquisitiveness, a capability to study independently, superb merit to capture a new idea, etc. And these, as it is felt, cannot be developed in a formal education system. In a reply to a question relating to his early education, Shaw stated that he could remember no time at which, quote, a page of print was not intelligible to him, unquote. Even he declared that he was born literate. In his school days, he himself studied thoroughly Shakespeare and the Bible. Because of his financial crisis in the family, Shaw was bound to accept a job as a clerk in a land agency at the age of 16. He was not in a condition to cope with the nature of job being carried out by him and determined to become a professional writer. After completing 5 years of service, he resigned and went to London to join his mother, who was there engaged in music teaching. From 1876 to 1878, he took the support of his mother and devoted himself to study and thereby to develop himself as an independent author. In between years 1879 and 1883, he wrote novels such as Immaturity, The Irrational Knot, Love Among the Artists, Cashel Byron's Profession, etc. However, his attempt was an abortive one and found himself not to be competent in novel writing. By this time, in 1879, he took a job in a farm promoting the new Edison, page 4, telephone. His duty was like that of an agent to motivate the people to get the permission for the installation of new telephone lines. This task was not in conformity with the mindset of Shaw. A few months later, he stopped working in the company as he thought that he, quote, sinned against his nature, Unquote. A significant moment came to Shaw's life in the year 1879. He came in touch with a debating club named the Zetical Society. The members of the society used to hold lengthy, thought-provoking discussions on several subjects such as economics, science, religion, etc. Within a short time, he established himself as an effective speaker and started participating regularly in public meetings. He had an opportunity to listen to the erudite lecture by Henry George, who propagated land nationalization and the single tax. That lecture roused his interest in economics and social theory, though previously he was preoccupied with the idea of conflict between science and religion. Shaw came to know that to have greater idea on that issue he should read Karl Marx's theories. He then read Das Kapital in French. That reading inspired him to be the follower of socialism. New lease of life came in the life of this great man in the year 1884 when he came in contact with Fabian society after reading a treatise, Why Are the Many Poor? The society, having the intellectual fervor to bring equality in society, attracted him. His enthusiasm, coupled with oratory, brought him to the pivot of the society, and he was elected to the executive committee in 1885. Shaw and Sidney Webb became the pillars of the society, preaching the idea of evolutionary socialism. Shaw's opinions and views, as expressed in different meetings of the society, were published in the form of a book, The Intelligent Woman's Guide to Socialism and Capitalism, in bracket 1928, bracket closed. Some of its ideas were also the base of his plays. His association with William Archer, a well-known drama critic and editor and translator of Henrik Ibsen, initiated a new stage in his career. Shaw came to know about the original features of the drama of Ibsen. His contribution to Pall Mall Gazette in 1885 as a reviewer was immense. Shaw's emergence as a dramatist was greatly influenced by the Norwegian dramatist Ibsen. Regarding this, in A Critical History of English Literature, Diakis, in bracket 1960, semicolon 1104 to 1105, bracket close, states, meanwhile the influence of Henrik Ibsen had been making itself felt in English drama. The propagandizing and translating by William Archer and the enthusiasm of George Bernard Shaw in bracket 1856 to 1950, bracket closed, helped to spread the influence but also conditioned the way Ibsen was understood in England. Shaw's study of Ibsen, the quintessence of Ibsenism, in bracket 1891, bracket closed, presented the Norwegian dramatist as the exponent of a reforming naturalism with the emphasis on the prose, quote, social plays, unquote, such as The Doll's House and Ghosts, page 5, and paying much less attention to the more poetic and symbolic plays. Such a view suited Shaw's own ideas of the function of the drama. Shaw saw the drama as a vehicle for presenting in entertaining and provocative form his views on the abuses and contradictions of the social order, and his suggestions of the true way in which to view human experience and institutions. His object was to satirize not the invented characters in the plays, but the audience. Quote, I must warn my readers that my attacks are directed against themselves, not against my stage figures. Unquote. In his desire to shock rather than to lull, to provoke rather than to amuse, Shaw put into his characters' mouths discussions in which his characteristic wit and love of paradox were given full play. A favorite device of his was to stand the popular view on its head, thus both outraging and titillating his audience. Yet, in many respects, Shaw took over the idea of the, quote, well-made, unquote, play from his predecessors. He had been a dramatic critic for years before he became a dramatist, and his experience in the theatre had familiarized him with all the popular tricks of the trade, which he adopted and exploited with considerable virtuosity. Ibsen's great contribution, as Shaw saw it, had been twofold: the presentation on the stage of life as it is really lived in contemporary society, and the introduction of the discussion into drama. His own plays incorporated both features. Being enriched by the Marxian philosophy and the ideas of the Fabian Society and the works of Ibsen, Shaw wrote an evaluation of Ibsen in the works The Quintessence of Ibsen in bracket 1891, which is also called The Quintessence of Shaw. It expresses Shaw's view regarding the action, theme, and characters of drama having social obligation. Being equipped with the knowledge and his own evaluation of the present society, Shaw started writing dramas. His first play, The Widower's Houses, is characteristic of Shavian outlook influenced by Ibsen. Constructionally, it is traditional, but thematically it is revelationary, as it deals with the evils of some slum landlordism normally neglected by the artist. His major plays, which were published in 1898, are classified by Shaw himself into two categories. Quote, plays pleasant and unpleasant. Unquote. The unpleasant plays were The Widower's Houses, Mrs. Warren's Profession, and The Philanderer. The first two are unflinching in examination of slum landlordism and organized prostitution respectively. The Philanderer is a satire on the pseudo-Ibsenites and their attitude to women. His pleasant plays are Arms and the Men, Candida, The Men of Destiny, and You Never Can Tell. All these plays project Shavian outlook relating to war, love, family relationships, etc. His Arms and the Men exposes the hollowness of romance and romantic ideas about war and love through the contrast between Rana and Lauka and Bluntschli and Sergius. Another pleasant play, Candida, tells how its page 6 heroine Candida and the Reverend Morel demand as advanced thinkers and the play ends with the indication of the need of an honest and sound basis for a lasting marriage. Shaw's attachment with a Fabian woman, Charlotte Payne Townshend, and her subsequent help towards him during his long illness led to their marriage in 1898. She was both an assistant and a critic of his works in the rest of his life. He wrote some other plays like The Devil's Disciple in bracket 1897 bracket closed, Caesar and Cleopatra in bracket 1898 bracket closed, and Captain Brassbound's Conversion in bracket 1899 bracket closed. These works already brought name and fame to the continent and in the USA. He was by then acknowledged as the major force in the new drama of the 20th century. Shaw's ideas about creative evolution got the shape of drama in Men and Supermen, published in 1903 and first acted in 1905. The theme of this play is the way in which the life force works itself out in human affairs in order to improve the race. His other best plays are Major Barbara in bracket 1905 bracket closed, Androcles and the Lion in bracket 1912, Pygmalion also 1912, Heartbreak House 1916, Back to Methuselah 1921, and Saint John 1923. Back to Methuselah and Saint John are studies of religion. The first is related with the conception of the evolutionary force which will bring men to perfection. The other one is probably Shaw's finest play. In it, the independence of the true Protestant is seen in opposition to the forces of organized society. After the writing of Saint John, no other play of Shaw was so technically and thematically sound. However, he tried to serve drama even when he was on the verge of death. He planned to write another drama when he died on November 2, 1950, at the age of 94. It is evident that Shaw reached the summit as a dramatist and as a thinker due to his undaunted spirit and enduring encounter with different situations. Shaw's ideological traits mainly came from Henry George and Fabian society. Side by side, his sustained interest in life force emanated from his encounter with the ideologies of Lamarck, Butler, Schopenhauer, Hegel, Nietzsche, and Wagner. Augustine Hammond, in his book Bernard Shaw, in bracket 1999, bracket closed, aptly states, to sum up, Shaw is a man whose life and work are conducted in a thoroughly logical manner. He is the man of his writings. He has endeavored to arrange his daily life as far as possible in accord with his philosophical ideas. As far as can be done in contemporary society, he has realized the man of tomorrow, man as he will be in the socialist society of tomorrow. That is to say, the real man, liberated from all social and worldly conventions, the free man acting freely and producing for the very reason that he is free, more and better than today. And it is because Shaw has realized to the utmost of his capacity this type of the man of the future continued in the next file.